This is LEGO Yoda. And these are his Jedi disciples, who we're about to murder. It's Order 66, baby, and there's a lot of Jedi death to be had. So in today's video, we're going to be building every Order 66 battle out of LEGO, starting with the newly crowned Darth Vader here. Oh no! So we need some Jedi Temple steps. Alright, here's our beautiful Jedi Temple steps. Now, this is obviously Clone Wars armor Anakin. This is a late style Clone Wars Anakin, but completely wrong facial features for, newly appointed Darth Vader. So, I made a nice Anakin here, in Episode 3 armor, with some beautiful Sith eyes for him. However, I don't think he had a red lightsaber at the time. He definitely hadn't made it bleed yet, so we've got a blue lightsaber for him still, and we're going to have him leading the way up the Jedi Temple steps. But we obviously need to get the 501st Clone Trooper Legion, what would later become Vader's Fist after Order 66, to help him out. So let's line him up, marching with him. The clones are now equipped with DC-15As walking up the steps behind Vader. And while this does look baller on its own, these are Order 66 battles. So let's add an enemy for Darth Vader to be walking into. The Jedi Temple Guards. Some of these guys are customs from BrickTactical.com. This guy is a fake from AliExpress. And others are a mix of Brick Love and Brick Tactical customs. We're gonna place these guys around the top of the steps with lightsabers drawn. And then around these fellas, I'd like to put some 65th Coruscant Guard as if they were just attacked by them and managed to fend themselves off. We'll also include Sergeant Hound in this because I love Sergeant Hound's design, bro. Looks so good. But he dead. So now it's really as if Darth Vader, is marching in with his 501st Legion to make sure the job is done. And that brings us to some war crimes. We're talking about the Younglings.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
Now, due to The Mandalorian being released, and this little green monster becoming everyone's favorite Star Wars character, the Younglings have had to suffer Order 66 again. So we're gonna start with the hallway of the Jedi Temple Order 66. In that scene from The Mandalorian, they're actually raised up on a bridge with clones fighting beneath them. So we gotta build a bridge here. We have our slightly raised ramp platform here inside the Jedi Temple, and we need our green lightsabered Lady Jedi here, and she's going to be going ham on the clones. Now, beneath them, we're going to need to put more sort of randomized Jedi down here, unnamed fighters, dicing up some clone troopers. And of course, before we put the clone troopers out here, we need the Younglings who are on top of the platform in this scene. For the Younglings, I've just taken regular Jedi robes and attached them to small boy legs, and they've got some good outfit variety and stuff like that, but in this scene they're all in their training helmets, and the closest thing I could find to those training helmets that I have are these Rebel pilot helmets. I figured they look pretty similar to the training helmets, and Luke does use them in A New Hope, so you know what? I think it works perfectly fine. And then of course we're going to give them all BrickTactical.com custom sabers. Very nice. And we're gonna get a little schnazzy with some of these Brick Tactical customs. These look great. So on the bridge here, we'll obviously have our Padawans, lightsabers drawn, but not really doing much of the fighting. As in the scene, the female Jedi does pretty much all the fighting for them, protecting the Padawans. Now we just need to scatter various 501st troopers in here, fighting the Jedi. Now we have the interior of our Jedi Temple battle. Clone troopers getting skewered while the Younglings watch on in horror. and glee. That guy is way too happy. Down below, Jedi are trying to take on as many of these 501st troopers as really conceivably possible, and they're dicing them up pretty good. But the problem is, of course, it's just going to be overwhelming. An entire legion of clones versus Jedi just will not end well here. And as all of this is going down, other Jedi younglings are, well, they're in very similar trouble, except they're going to be all alone. We need to build a small council's chamber for the younglings to be hiding in. Now we have the council chambers all set up. And
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
let's just say we don't have to talk about what happens next. But beyond the fun time the younglings are about to have, Master Kenobi is also going to have a fun time. General Kenobi here has been busy on Utapau, dealing not so well with General Grievous. He finds himself dangling off the edge of a cliff with the mad general bearing down on him, intent to kill. But Kenobi's kind of the goat when it comes to hanging off of cliffs and killing people. And General Grievous frickin' explodes! Blasters really are so uncivilized. But Kenobi here needs a ride back to the Republic base. And I don't have one of those lizard things from the movie, so here's a Brontosaurus instead. Kenobi's ready to rock! Back at the Republic field base on Utapau, Cody and the boys are big chillin'. Kenobi pops in with the big news on his kill of General Grievous. And Commander Cody, being the alpha male that he is, takes this opportunity to return Kenobi's lightsaber. With saber back in hand, Kenobi's ready to go and kill some more clankas. So him and his Brontosaurus lizard thing trot off. But truly, the most hard-hitting betrayal is about to happen, as Cody answers a call from Emperor Palpatine.
Execute Order 66.
Cody gives the order to the ATT gunner nearby, and they take the shot at their old friend General Kenobi. Kenobi ends up taking an unforeseen bath at the bottom of the Utapau pits, and he knows something is seriously wrong. That friendly fire was intentional. Upon Kenobi returning to safety, he reaches out to Yoda as he begins to get off planet. But the little green goblin was having some problems of his own. The fighting on Kashyyyk had been fierce, with the 41st Elite Corps, under the command of Yoda, having to fight in essentially Star Wars D-Day. So let's build the Battle of Kashyyyk real quick. The Battle of Kashyyyk. Clones and Wookiees fighting together against their common enemy, the CIS battle droids. These aren't just any battle droids, they are the Clone Army Customs adjustable battle droids, so they can walk, aim, and pretty much pivot however you want them to. Incredible! Plus, we also have a custom MTT deploying additional troopers to the beaches while the Wookiees and clones blast away. Now, this is a very short-lived battle. Not because the clones weren't capable of defending, but rather Order 66. Now, Master Yoda, high above in the Kashyyyk platforms, is watching the battle unfold below. Commander Gree is ominously in the background, answering a phone call. I'm sure there's nothing to worry about, right? Yeah? Well, all of a sudden, Yoda, he senses a great disturbance in the Force. AKA, a lot of younglings and Jedi all over the place, not having a good time. And then, Commander Gree and his buddy turn. Yoda then performs one of the dopest moves in all of Star Wars. Pivoting and lobbing off the clone heads in one foul swoop. The Wookiees are, let's just say, very impressed with their little green friend. Sadly, this would be one of the last unsuccessful Order 66 battles, because then we get into a real montage of death, baby. Starting with our girl Aayla Secura on Felucia. Now, Felucia is a heavily vegetated planet with a huge variety of plants. So let's go ahead and do that now. There we go, plants galore, baby. And we got Aayla Secura here. We give her a nice lightsaber. It is blue, like Smurf. Now there's also some walkers in the background of Felucia, so why don't we put them there? Shibuya, baby! Custom 501st ATTE, because it's the only ATTE I currently own after giving away my other ones. Congrats to you lucky winners. So we're gonna go ahead and kind of put it as if it was stepping around the terrain here, I suppose, so it can be in the background. I don't know. Now it's time for maybe one of the most brutal Jedi deaths of Order 66.
Now that's a lot of damage!
Aayla kind of flops super oddly, and then we have her killer Commander Bly here of the 327th Star Corps, along with, you know, a number of his additional troopers, including ARC troopers, airborne troopers, 327th standard troopers. The whole gang basically stops what they're doing and ices Aayla Secura. Let's set him up for victory here. Now, Aayla here is getting absolutely cooked. There's no surviving this one. 100 blaster bolts to the back, and even after she falls down, they just keep gunning.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
And while the 327th Star Corps did not hold back, neither did the 21st Nova Marine Corps, of which poor Ki-Adi-Mundi, big ol' forehead here, was the victim. Now this Order 66 was executed on Megiddo, which is a big ol' icy city-style planet. So we got our snow biome here. Then we can go ahead and place down some city streets and gray tiles and then cover that up with, you know, different white pieces and stuff like that. Kind of make it look like a snowy, unplowed road type thing. Let's go. So we've got our bit of Megiddo here, but there's also a lot of rubble in the background of this Order 66 scene. So I've got this. This is my turbo tank that I shipped from Boston to Orlando, and I don't think it survived super well. So I think it'll make for perfect background rubble. Yeah, this thing did not do well in the traveling. I think it on its side and then moving kind of some of the rubble will make for some cool background decor. And might as well also put an AAT off to the side. This one is from Ahsoka's 332nd Battle Pack. Now, sadly, it is time for Ki-Adi-Mundi to meet his fate. Now, bro here was leading his boys in a charge, that being the 21st Nova Corps, who were also fighting alongside Commander Bakara, who was super well known for being one of the worst clone commanders to serve under because he was so brutal. Well, while Ki-Adi-Mundi was charging on in, the boys paused and raised their guns on the Jedi Master. Who, to be fair, actually turned and did some fighting before finally getting giga-clapped, becoming yet another victim of Order 66. But we ain't done killing Jedi, baby. There was also everyone's favorite Master Plo, who died while soaring through a city in his Jedi Starfighter. R.I.P. my boy. Our next Order 66 will be on the Saleucami system. And very similar to Plo, it's going to involve vehicles. If you guessed Jedi Master Stas Ali, who is kind of a deep-cut Jedi if we're being completely honest, then you'd be right. Congrats. And she got killed by Commander Neo, as well as Neo's wingman during a routine patrol on Saleucami. So we're gonna have Neo and his boy bearing down on her. We can also go ahead and add a few battle-torn buildings to the peripheral of this Order 66. Stas here is also going to get a nice speeder, but we're gonna have to go ahead and split it in half because she basically exploded and then spun out, crashing the speeder. F to my girl. Oh, Rip. Now, we have one additional clone trooper Order 66 from Revenge of the Sith that we have yet to tackle. That being our boy, Senator Bail Organa here, who was on Coruscant. And no, I do not have a Bail Organa minifig, so this cursed man is gonna have to do. And this boy was being accosted by 501st clone troopers. Many of them, in fact. And when they came to approach the senator, this young legend of a whippersnapper comes out swinging. Sadly, eventually, the clones get the drop on my boy. But he did kill like a ton of 501st clone troopers before he got Order 66. This was just some kid. Meanwhile, other Jedi Masters killed no clones. And he bought enough time for Organa here to run away in his little speeder. This wasn't the only Order 6 involving a speeder escape. Jedi Kelleran Beck here escaped Coruscant with Gragu, with the help of a few Naboo guards, as the clone army was chasing them. And fun fact, Kelleran Beck is actually played by Ahmed Best, who played Jar Jar, as a nice way of giving him a more lovable character in the Star Wars universe. So we're gonna go ahead and do the Gragu speeder escape here with this speeder chillin', Kelleran Beck holding Gragu behind. And then I figure let's have some fun and use the old school Phase 2 clone troopers here for this Order 66. And it helps that I have way more of these 65th Coruscant Guard shock troopers than I have in the newer versions. So we can use more of these guys. Although this guy's got a 91st helmet, alongside some shiny clones here to surround Kelleran Beck. And there we go. Kelleran Beck escaping with Gragu while surrounded by clone troopers trying to execute Order 66 on the pair of Jedi here. The next Order 66 we will be covering comes from another peripheral Star Wars show, The Bad Batch. Now for this Bad Batch Order 66, we're gonna need another ice planet, as Deepa Balaba. Hold up, wait, she actually has a blue lightsaber. Now this was in the midst of another Clone Wars battle, and she gets Order 66 in the middle of a big mud crater around the snow. So we gotta kind of build that around here. Okay, with our small little impact hole here, we're also gonna go ahead and add some rubble in the background. Maybe a couple of destroyed guns, dead droids, you know, the works. Since this was a battlefield after all. Then we're gonna have Jedi Depa in the center here, and she basically gets KO'd by the clone troopers in the exact same way that all clone troopers executed Order 66.
You must run!
Which was by surrounding the Jedi and giving them a face full of lasers. There we go. Now, beyond all of the standard clone troopers, there was also her clone commander, who was in green. I tried to build an old school Phase 2 version of this green clone commander. I have no idea who this clone commander is. My closest guess is Captain Locke, maybe? But that's unconfirmed for me. Let me know in the comments if you guys know. Either way, they're attacking, and she is doing everything in her power to get her Padawan, Caleb Doom, out of there. So he is running away, but while he is running, Hunter and the Bad Batch are running after him. Honestly, this Order 66 cold open made me realize I was going to instantly like Bad Batch Season 1. But while the Bad Batch opened up with a brand new Order 66 for us, the Clone Wars wrapped up with our final Order 66 on Ahsoka Tano. Now obviously we have Ahsoka and Captain Rex's attempt to Order 66 her on a Venator bridge. So let's go ahead and build the landscape around which we shall Order 66. So we got a nice little bridge for the Venator, but then we're going to need a nice center console here, which is kind of the focal point for this Order 66, because Ahsoka here ends up atop that, fighting off Captain Rex and his 501st cronies. Well, actually, in this instance, it's not the 501st, it's the 332nd, because in the ultimate twist of irony, Ahsoka gets her own clone legion right as Order 66 takes place. So let's get Ahsoka some sabers. Perfecto. And now we gotta surround her with 3 32nd troopers, which is where our handy dandy little bag of clone troopers comes in, baby. Let's assemble. And there we go, Ahsoka surrounded by a load of 3 32nd troopers. And of course, we're going to put Rex in here. Now, Rex starts with Order 66, but Ahsoka eventually manages to get through to him, and the two of them go on to partake in the rebellion. So guys, these were all of the Order 66s from the TV shows and movies. There's a couple from the games that I did not do, like Fallen Order, Force Awakens, and some others that I don't think are technically canon anymore, but let me know if you'd like to see them in a future video. Now, for today's giveaway, we'll be giving away a few old school Phase 2 clone troopers, the rare ones, and a nice Mace Windu here. All you gotta do to enter is hit the like button, subscribe, and comment down below. Which Order 66 battle do you think is your favorite in the Star Wars universe? Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.